We're going to be talking about this topic today that is so important for you guys, especially when you're just first starting out. You got that first facility, trying to build the foundation for success, and we're talking all about that pre-acquisition success. What are the different pieces that you need to have in place to really find the deal, execute on it, and work through some of those immediate next steps as you've found a self-storage investment opportunity? I know AJ and I just did an amazing podcast talking about all of the incredible opportunity that exists out there right now from an acquisition standpoint. As of today, we're late July 2026, and there are some incredible acquisition opportunities and some market dynamics that are happening in the industry that make it an extremely great time to get in. And it's funny because it's always a great time to invest, right? But the dynamics that we're seeing today, the opportunities that exist now, don't sleep on these things, guys. Go listen to that podcast that AJ and I just did. It was probably the one previous to this or right around it. Make sure you go and check that out. Tune in, take notes, and go out there and actually take action on this stuff, guys. Again, don't sleep on it. Don't just listen to us over and over again. Take this information that you get from this podcast today, from all the other ones that you've watched or listened to, and take that information and go and execute on it. Because if you don't, those opportunities, they're fleeting. They're not going to be around forever, and they're going to go away. And you're going to miss those opportunities to totally change your life with self-storage, which we've seen so many folks do within self-storage income, like our community online and all these different elements. It's just been amazing to see the impact that storage has had on everybody. And that's why we're so grateful to be here doing this stuff with you guys and with the team, and whether it's a live events, podcast, online community, any of it. Just such an amazing resource, and couldn't be more excited to bring these things to you guys and for you guys. So with that said, let's talk about it. So you're out there, you're looking for your first storage acquisition. There are a lot of different pieces that you want to make sure that you have set and ready to go. One of the things that I like to talk people through is when you're out there and you're looking at these investment opportunities, you are going to have so many things going on all at once. When you finally find that opportunity that you are interested in, you want to move forward with, you don't want to have to try to move forward and navigate the deal and set up all the infrastructure to execute on the deal at the same time. It's ideal if you can kind of set the foundations a little bit and then be prepared to execute on it once that opportunity comes. So let's break this down into a couple things. When I first start talking to somebody that's new into self-storage, I tell them that you're going to need three things. You're going to need people. You're going to need a team of some kind, which we'll talk a little bit about what that means. You're going to need capital. And then obviously you're going to need deal flow. You're going to need those opportunities coming to you. So let's dissect each one of these just a little bit. The people piece, we're not just like talking employees or any of that kind of stuff. This could be just individuals that you hire to do certain things, that you contract with, whatever it might be. So think attorneys, think about your CPAs, think about a title company, think about insurance brokers, think about all these different pieces that you're going to need to execute on that opportunity when it comes. You're going to need an attorney to review paperwork and contracts and these different things. You're going to need a lender, you're going to need a bank for sure. So make sure you're building those relationships. You're introducing yourself to banks even before you have a deal. Again, I want to preface, this is before you have anything. You're meeting with people, you're talking to those individuals, you're building the team to go out there and win the Super Bowl, so to speak. So talk to them about what your self-storage goals are. Share with them, your quote unquote buy box, this investment criteria that you've created that says, I'm looking at self-storage, I'm looking at temperature control self-storage in these states and in these markets that have these kind of, value add dynamics, whatever that might be. Really be specific on what kind of plan you have to go and execute and do well in self-storage, what your business plan is going to be, and all those different pieces. Talk to those folks, talk to the attorney, talk to the lender, talk to the title company, talk to an insurance broker, these different people that you're going to have to work with when that opportunity comes along. And a pro tip, something that I encourage all of you guys to do, just starting out, is go and get demos from these different service providers within the self-storage industry. So your property management systems, your camera systems, your phone systems, like whatever that might be for you guys, marketing services, people that are running PPC and ad campaigns and marketing, all these different pieces. Go and interview and do demos with those people, request a demo. A lot of times they have it just right on their website, and really dive in. Dive in and understand the different offerings and the different products and the different services that they provide and how all these different things connect and what the integrations are between these different platforms, from the website to the property management system to the gate systems, because all these things have to connect and communicate, right? So if you're going to run a facility remote and somebody's going to come and move in at 11 o'clock at night, nobody's there, they're going to rent a unit online with their phone. How do they access the facility? Is the gate talking to the property management system and the website to allow that to happen? So those are really great activities to front load. What I don't want you guys to do is get caught in the analysis paralysis thing, where you go out and you're doing these demos and you're looking at all this stuff, listening to all the podcasts, but you're not actually looking at opportunities. You're not underwriting deals. You're not looking at markets. So take this and do it to the best of your ability, but do not forego taking action on actually executing on opportunities, underwriting, doing market research, looking at opportunities out there, and making sure that you actually, again, we'll get to this, have the deal flow piece.
We're in Mississippi right now, and we're turning this storage facility around. Now, lots of people are out trying to buy facilities, small ones that range everywhere from $300,000 to $4 or $5 million. Now, they're worried about getting the money or having the financing. This is why we team up with Live Oak Bank, because they get this. They understand storage. In fact, we have them help us underwrite deals for our students and others, because they are one of the best people in the industry when it comes to getting loans, especially small business loans. They can actually help the customers when they find the asset, understanding how much debt can I get? What's it going to look like? Not just because of the customer they're working with, but because of their knowledge base. That changes them from being a bank to being a real asset to the customer. We recommend Live Oak Bank to our students as well as others that are trying to get into the storage business. They have an in-depth knowledge of this asset class, so it's more than a bank. It's more than simply getting money. They're actually an asset and a partner to them, helping them go through all the things that they don't know and understand.
Now let's talk capital, right? So there's a lot of folks, and again, I want to share this too, man. I feel like a lot of people that I talk to, they hesitate to go and talk to anybody before they have an opportunity in front of them. And I want to encourage you guys again to do this before you have an opportunity at all, because you want to build the foundation previous. Don't feel like you have to wait to go talk to the bank about self-storage. Go talk to them right now today, or your CPA or any of these things, because the earlier on that you get these people coordinating and talking and communicating and planning and organizing, that's going to really help you. We'll get to these things too. That's really going to help you structure your entities properly. From the get-go. It's going to help you structure your operations properly. It's going to help you structure your underwriting and have documents prepared and ready to go for the bank or for the seller or for any other individual that you might be coordinating with. It really helps put those pieces together, because if you don't have those pieces, it's all guesswork, right? Until you're there and you're shining the light on stuff, you can't see it, right? You can't see that next step. So start shining the light a little bit sooner to where you can see some of those next steps and be prepared to take them when they come. So let's talk capital a little bit. This is where those conversations with your lender are going to come in handy. Very, very important. You can understand what the terms are going to look like potentially, interest rates, what your monthly debt service is going to be on certain types of asset, pricing and different ranges where you can look at this and say, okay, well, if I'm going to go out and buy a facility for $500,000, or I'm going to go out and buy a facility for $2 million or $10 million, whatever it is, this is what my debt service is going to look like with this bank. This is what my terms are going to look like with that bank. And here's this other bank over here that, this lender, they offered me something slightly different that makes the underwriting a little bit better or a little bit worse. It helps you navigate that underwriting piece and be able to put known data or accurate data within a range into your underwriting versus, again, guessing and being like, well, I don't know what the terms are going to be that the bank has. I don't know what interest rates really look like right now for conventional or SBA loans or whatever. And that's another piece to this, talking about the capital stack. And when we say capital stack, this is just going to mean how you're structuring that capital from the get-go. Is it conventional? Is it seller finance? Are you doing SBA? What are you doing? You're bringing money in from investors or family, friends, partners, whatever. That is the capital stack when people talk about those things. And that could be any number of those, combination of those things, or one of those things. It could be anything. So with that said, getting the capital going early, talking to different lenders, understanding terms, using that in your underwriting, being able to plan accordingly, and being able to figure out what capital stack works the best. Because you might very well, like we've seen in a lot of cases these days, you might find an acquisition opportunity that really stands out to you. It checks a lot of boxes, but the asking price is just too much. And the bank is just not going to lend on that because it doesn't meet their criteria. That gives you then the opportunity to go talk to the seller about seller financing and different creative options to get a deal done for them without using the bank potentially. So it's a really, really great leveraging piece to be able to utilize in those upfront negotiations as you're getting a letter of intent submitted or a purchase and sale agreement agreed to or negotiated. So really, really important things to keep in mind as you're navigating that. Talk to people, talk to friends and family, talk to industry experts and contacts in your circle, and don't be afraid to tell them that you're looking at investing in self-storage. Like you're not just, you're actively looking to invest in self-storage. You're not just like curious about it. You're not just like kicking tires. Like you're underwriting deals because you are going to go out there and invest in a self-storage opportunity. You're going to go and operate and own one. You're going to go and invest in one, whatever that is. If you want to be an owner operator, or if you just want to go and be a capital partner and allow somebody else to go and run the thing, you're looking for that opportunity and you're going to go and do it. There's so many opportunities that come from just talking to people about what your plans are and what you're doing. I've seen this play out in my own life on so many occasions where, I'm talking to somebody about something and suddenly this opportunity comes from them or from another source, just organically from having those conversations and putting those things out there. It's an extremely important thing to do, because a good thing to keep in mind is if you're not going to use investor capital or bring partners in or those different things today, that doesn't mean that you're not going to do it in the future. So if you have those conversations with people, it could either kick up a storage opportunity, like a facility that maybe they know an owner somewhere. They're like, oh my gosh, I was just talking to Frank the other day and he was telling me that they were going to sell this storage facility because he's retiring. He's tired of running the thing. Or, man, I've really wanted to invest in self-storage. Like, I've got some capital from a 1031 that I've got that I need to deploy in X amount of time. Like, let me give you some information and, where I'm at and how much I'd like to invest. But, let's put something together. All the different opportunities can come together just from having those conversations. So don't be shy about it. Go out there, have the conversations, talk to banks, talk to potential partners, and be able to execute with that capital when the time comes. And again, maybe that means a whole other dynamic too. Maybe you're just going to be using your own capital, where you're going to have to sell an asset, or you're going to use some retirement funds, or you're going to use just some savings. Whatever that is, make sure you've got a good, clear action plan for what that looks like and how that fits into whatever opportunity comes along. Because that opportunity very well might be the conventional doesn't work, so we're going to seller finance. Like, okay, well, if we're seller financing, where's the down payment coming from? We're going to bring in the down payment and then the bank's going to fund the rest, but we're going to bring in a larger down payment, or we're going to do this process where we don't put any of our own money in and we've got a partner that comes in and they're going to own some of the equity. There's all kinds of ways to structure it. So just make sure that you've got the tools in the toolbox ready to go, ready to use at your disposal. And when that time comes, you can pick and choose based on the opportunity in front of you what tool that you're going to use for that specific opportunity. So just some things that you definitely need to be considering as you start navigating that stuff. Next up, let's go ahead and talk. So we've got people. We talked a little bit about people. We talked about capital. Now we're going to talk deal flow. I mentioned a buy box. First and foremost, you've really got to understand what kind of criteria you're looking for when you're looking at investing in self-storage. Are you looking for traditional drive up? Are you looking for just like land that you could do open parking or covered parking on? Are you looking for temperature control, multi-level? Like what exact asset type within self-storage are you looking for or are open to? Talking about the regions, I also mentioned in your buy box that it's important to outline where specifically you're interested in investing. So whether it's specific states, cities, regions, those things are very important for you to spell out. And if you're not sure where, because this is something that we hear a lot of too, where we're like, man, we can run facilities remotely, right? I can run a facility in the United States and live in Mexico, right? Like there's all kinds of ways to run facilities remotely and succeed and do it well. So it really opens the door to be able to go anywhere. So where do you start? And the simplest answer to that is I would encourage anybody, if you're just starting out, invest in the areas that you're familiar with. If you have lived there, if you have family there, if you just know and understand that area as a whole, how people are utilizing it, how do people travel to and from different areas of town? What is the growth like? What is the overall vibe like in that area? Prime example that I like to use all the time. Being here in the Boise, Idaho area, I've got a very clear understanding of if I was going to go, or if anybody else here in this valley was going to go camping for the weekend, and they were going to go up to the mountains, and they were going to go out and do recreational activities. It's a very, very high probability that there's two or maybe a third highway that everybody in this valley is going to have to take to get to those recreational areas. And if I'm looking at boat and RV storage, let's say, if I had a boat and RV storage facility in those areas, just on the edge of town, off of those highways, that would be an amazing location for that because people wouldn't have to haul their crap all the way through town or through the city or whatever. They could store it right at the edge of town, be able to just hit the highway and go with their boat, their RV, four-wheelers, whatever it is. I would not know that if I didn't know this area and how people utilized the recreational areas around Boise and the valley here. Like there's not a spreadsheet that I can just look at, right? There's not like a census survey that goes out that asks those questions. So I wouldn't know those things. I also wouldn't know the growth or understand the growth or even the vibe, the look, the feel of these different areas of town and how all of it works, right? Like, are people really truly willing to drive from this side of town to that side of town? Just knowing those areas gives you so much information that you just can't find on Google. You can't find in a spreadsheet. So if you're just starting out, look at those areas that you've lived in before, that you're familiar with, that you've got family at, that just you have a good understanding of how that city is working and functioning from a utilization standpoint of that population there. And also just local economics and dynamics, like and understand, the employers there, and understand the growth of business and industry there and all the other elements that could go along with that. So buy box, again, calling out those locations, really, really important. I also encourage you guys to throw in your buy box, a little snippet about you and who you are, what your plans are in self-storage, a little bit about your background, because if you're putting this information together that you're planning on sending to somebody, which we're going to get to this, you're going to, I've got a challenge for you guys here at the end of this little segment. This buy box piece, it's really important to put about, it's almost like a resume, so to speak, of who you are and what your plans are. You can put a little bit about your background, who you are, where you're coming from, what your goals, motivations are. Again, just a small thing. It doesn't have to be crazy. Just a little bit about you and who you are as a human being and what you're doing in the self-storage industry or looking to do. Really, really important. Outlining some of your potential financing options. Like we talked about, you could outline in your buy box, say that you're open to seller financing or seller financing preferred, but open to conventional. Or you could say, we're a firm that we're, raising capital and we're doing this and that. Like there's all kinds of different ways that you can put this information in there to show what different financing structures that you're open to can be helpful. There's pros and cons to putting like your price in a buy box that you're willing to purchase. So let's say that I'm willing to purchase, let's say, quote unquote, I'm willing to purchase a property that's up to $2 million. The problem with that is if there's an opportunity that comes along at 2.5, is somebody going to call me about it because they saw in my buy box that it's I'm only open to 2 million. When in reality, the problem is maybe that facility listed at 2.5 is only worth 2 million, and you never get to see that opportunity. The other thing, I'm just from a sales perspective, I am not a fan of putting a number out there first in any way, shape, or form for anything. I want other people to give me their numbers first so I can figure out where the pieces fall. The other thing is, again, you might think, man, I only want to execute on a property if it's up to 3 million because like this is how I envision my first opportunity going. Where maybe this $5 million opportunity comes along, where the facility is a little bit bigger, it's a little bit more, maybe it's more closer to an A class versus B class, maybe it's in a better area, maybe it's a better opportunity for whatever reason, but it just costs more. And you find out like, man, this is an amazing opportunity in this amazing market. There's this upside, there's whatever. There's this play that you can identify and it's at 5 million. And you start to think and you figure out, well, actually, if we sold this, if I went and I raised some money from this family friend, or I went and did X, Y, or Z, like we could go and execute on that. So I think there's a dynamic there of putting a number in your head and not being able to look at other opportunities. So there's pros and cons there. And obviously having an idea of how you intend to execute on a deal could give you like some structure and say, hey, I'm really only looking for properties up to, such and such point, but I'm open to looking at stuff outside of that if an opportunity comes along that is just incredible, whatever. Outlining your potential business plan, what that looks like as well on your buy box, really, really important to say, hey, I'm going to go in, I really want to do something that's got low CapEx. I don't want to have to come in and do a ton of physical improvements. I want to be able to come in and do simple value add on the operations side. I don't want to have to do physical improvements really or construction projects to really bring this facility up to par. I want to just come in and manage expenses a little bit, manage rates a little bit, and maybe adjust employees or staffing a little bit, whatever that looks like. That's a really important thing to outline as well, just kind of touch on that. So you can put anything in a buy box, really. At the end of the day, you just want to talk about who you are and exactly what you're looking for, kind of what your business plan is, some of those elements there. Here's the thing. You're going to take this buy box and you're going to send it to brokers. You're going to send this buy box to commercial real estate brokers, hopefully some that you can find in these. You already identified these areas that you're interested in investing, right? You've found those areas you're familiar with. You're going to send it to brokers in those areas who are specialists in self-storage and tell them who you are. You're going to share that buy box. You're going to tell them who you are, what you're looking for, X, Y, and Z. And ideally, it'd be great if you could not only send this to them, but like actually meet them in person. Go and grab lunch, take them out somewhere, meet up, and have conversations with them, get to know them. Again, more of that human element piece that I think so much of us need, especially nowadays. Go and meet up with them, talk to them about storage, talk to them about their experience, how they got in the industry, build that long-term relationship. Don't just make it transactional. Get the races started. And this is my challenge for you guys. I want every single one of you guys listening to this podcast right now today, by the end of the day today, put this buy box together and send this by the end of the week. Let's say 5 business days. I want you guys to identify those markets, and I want you to send this buy box to at least 3 brokers in every one of those regions or every one of those cities. And again, we're gonna specify. Ideally, you want those self-storage specific brokers that have experience specifically in self-storage. There's commercial real estate brokerage firms that are just commercial real estate generally. They might have like a self-storage department. You see some of that. Little pro tip here. I also encourage people and tell them to reach out to some business brokers in those areas, in those regions as well. Because business brokers, for one, it's their business to be connected in those markets with everybody as much as possible, with business owners. Self-storage is a business, right? Like we talk about, it's not just the real estate aspect. So Pro tip, reach out to some business brokers as well. Share that buy box with them. Get to know them because they very well might either know someone or even have a listing come to them for self-storage. So by the end of the day, end of a business day here, let's say in the next 24 hours, get that buy box completed. Send that buy box within the next 5 business days to at least 3 brokers in those regions or areas that you're interested in investing in. Start getting the deal flow coming to you. The other thing from a deal flow perspective, what I want you guys to do is to find your local or state self-storage association and connect with the leadership there. Introduce yourself, share your buy box, see if you can go out to lunch, see if you can go grab a coffee, see if they have any upcoming events. They typically will have either monthly, quarterly, annual events, whatever they have going on that you can go, you can meet other owners, you can rub elbows with people in the industry. There might even be some vendors there that, whether it's property management systems or locks or different things, go to those self-storage events that are specific to those areas, again, that you're interested in investing in. Put faces to names. Get your face out there. Let people know who you are and start building that deal flow. Like, this is what I'm looking for. Again, you're sharing this buy box, you're sharing your story with everybody, right? And don't get me wrong, like you're not like walking up to everybody with like this pamphlet of your your buy box at an event or something. Just have like authentic, organic conversations with these people about what you're doing and what you're aiming to do. The other thing from a deal flow perspective that I'm going to encourage you guys to do, again, you've identified these markets that you want to invest in. Pull up Google and just look around Google Maps and identify facilities in that area that look a little mom and pop. And you might even know some of these right off the top of your head. I know at least I do in my area right now. I know of at least 2 different ones in a specific city that I'm 20 minutes away from right now that I know for a fact have massive value add opportunity, that there's a lot of demand and a ton of growth in those areas that could probably be great acquisition opportunities. If you can find those, which I think a lot of us probably could, connect directly with those owners. Meet the people on site. A lot of times these mom and pop owners still live on site. They're there, they're working it 24/7. They've built it back in the day, and that's what it is. There's a lot of that still going on in the industry. It's still a very fragmented industry, self-storage is. And so that direct to owner outreach can be really, really important, especially on the personal level where you're like physically showing up at their property. And the way I would approach this is, if I was going to go to one of those 2 facilities right now in my area, I would go there and I would, again, tell them who I am. I'm interested in self-storage. Tell me your story. Like, how did you get started? Like, what was it about self-storage that brought you here? Like, I know I've got this idea of what storage could be or should be. I'm listening to these podcasts and watching YouTube, and I just want to learn more about it. Like, how did you get started? What do you like? What do you dislike? What would you do different? Like, walk me around your facility. Like, wow, you guys built this thing and you've been running it for 20 years. Like, what has that been like? How has the industry changed? Make it about building long-term relationships with everybody. And honestly, I would tell you to do this in self-storage or in any aspect of your life. Do this with everything. Focus on building relationships with humans, because so many of us are just stuck, man. We're stuck on these freaking phones. We're stuck in front of screens. We're so into this automation stuff and efficiency and, all this stuff. Like, I can guarantee you almost every mom and pop owner out there, almost every one of them probably gets a ton of freaking phone calls and a ton of mailers in the mail with people offering to buy their storage facility. And it's just automated calls or these call centers or these automated mailers, whatever it is. And I'm not saying that those things can't work at all. You very well might be able to send a mailer to somebody and get a response in some way. You might very well be able to hire a call center and have them call in all these facilities for you and get a response and some return on your investment there in some way. I'm not saying that those don't work, but I'm telling you, the relationship, human aspect to business is so important. I would encourage anybody to do it. I don't care if you're working a 9-to-5 or you're going out there and you're investing in self-storage. Like, build relationships with people. Don't discount that. So make it about them. Go there, learn their story, and stay in touch with them. And if there's ways too that you can bring value to them, do that. That's another amazing thing that you could do is you could come in and, like, let's say you've got a background in website design. and you realized that their website is literally just it's just a landing page. They don't have any information. It's like, hey, here's who we are, and we've got the best prices in town, and call us. But don't call us very often because we rarely answer the phone, like whatever. Like it's just a landing page and that's it. No online rental capability, no nothing. Would it be simple and easy for you to go in and be like, hey, like if you guys don't mind, I could put together just like a quick like website of what this would look like and allow you guys maybe to do some online rentals. Like it sounds like maybe you're using this, maybe they're using a property management system that you've identified that allows online rental capability, but they just haven't used it. It's like, why haven't you guys done that? Like I could put like just a quick example together for you guys. And if you wanted to do it, I'd give you guys like a crazy discount or even do it for free, like whatever it is, just for showing me around and letting me learn from you guys a little bit. Keep those conversations going. Keep in touch with those people. Again, it's the long game. It's the relationship building side. And if there's ways for you to provide value, do it. You show up and maybe they've got like a dumpster that's like overflowing. Like, oh, hey, I've got this guy that owns like a junk removal company. You want me, like, let me get you connected with this guy. He'll come take care of this thing for you. Or there's trash, or there's, units full of crap, or there's just random things. Like if you've got any way to deploy value for them, do it. Like what's the worst that could happen? You use a little bit of time and resources to help them out. And again, if they're talking to you about the industry and helping you, ultimately at the end of the day, maybe acquire a facility because the time comes where they're ready to sell. Might not be today, might not be tomorrow or next year, but at that point in time, when the time comes, why not you? Like why not you be the first person that they think of when they're like, you know what, we're ready. And that kind of stuff happens all the time. This is another thing to keep in mind when you're talking to sellers, talking to owners. If something goes under contract or somebody's just not ready to sell, do not give up on those opportunities. Continue to follow up because things fall out of contract all the time. And people who are never going to sell at some point in time are going to have to exit, whether that's death, divorce, moving, bankruptcies, other financial, like health, whatever it is. So many times we've seen this play out over and over and over again. Somebody's never going to sell, and then something in life happens or something just clicks that they're like, dude, I'm done and I'm out. I want to go spend more time with the family. I want to go spend more time with the kids, whatever it is. And suddenly they're calling you saying, hey man, like you talked to me about potentially, buying this facility at some point, or you wanted to buy something and we're actually considering selling. Let's have a discussion about it. So those are the top three things there, guys. I wanted to make sure and talk about today to get you set up for success. We talked a little bit about entity structure. Make sure that you're talking with your attorney, talking with your CPA, those two individuals specifically on entity structure from the beginning. Make sure that you're structuring things in a way that is productive for you, not only today, but for growth and scale and for a potential exit at some point in time. Make sure that that asset is protected in the ways that you want it to be, whether that's setting up trusts, whether that's your different entity structures of LLCs and holding companies, and if you're doing S corps versus Cs and all these different pieces. Make sure that you're having those conversations and you're structuring it in a way that makes sense not only now, but as you grow and scale into the future. Because changing things later on, it can be done. There's very few things that are written in stone. However, it can be very difficult, or sometimes it could be impossible to change certain things at certain points in time. So make sure you have that entity structure built out properly from the beginning. Something else that I'm going to just throw out here. When you guys get that opportunity in your inbox, you're on the phone, whatever it is, to set yourselves up for success, again, make sure that you have those, like you have the foundations of everything that we just talked about. But I'm going to walk through a couple things here. What I want you guys to go do is get on site and take tons of photos. Take photos of the doors, take photos of the gate, take photos of any interior spaces, take photos of vacant units, open all the vacant units, go through these things. This is like once you have like a PSA executed, right? A purchase and sale agreement. And let's touch on this actually real quick. First and foremost, you're going to submit a letter of intent. You found an opportunity, you've found an offer price that you're comfortable with, you've got this capital stack you've put together and how you're going to fund it, all the different pieces. What your closing time frame is going to look like. You could say, you're going to do a 30-day due diligence, 30-day close, or 60-day due diligence, 30-day close, whatever it is. You can put these things in there. Again, talk to industry experts, talk to your attorney, figure out like what those elements might look like and what those details might look like. But what you're going to do is you're going to put an LOI or a letter of intent together, and you're going to submit that to the seller and or the broker. The purpose of that LOI is it's a high-level document that is going to outline all of those things. I'm going to buy it for this price based on the information I have today. This is how we're going to fund it. This is kind of our terms, 30-day due diligence, 60-day close, yada, yada, yada. The high-level pieces. Once you guys agree to that, once you and the seller agree to that LOI, then that LOI, you take that to your attorney, and your attorney builds out the purchase and sale agreement, or the PSA, which will then be the big legalese document. It's going to take everything from the LOI and it's going to plug it into the PSA. And it's just going to be the 40-page document or whatever it ends up being that outlines everything, every one of those elements in explicit detail, as far as exactly how things are going to go. So that's just kind of a peek behind the veil of how that process works. But once you get that PSA signed, there's a few things that you guys are going to have to do immediately. And let's start here. Let's do your third-party surveys. Your bank very well might have you guys order these things, but what you're going to want to have done is an ALTA survey, a zoning report, a property condition report, and a phase 1 environmental. Those 4 things should be on your radar, and you should be ready to execute on those. You can get ranges of like proposed costs from companies like National Due Diligence Services. They do a bunch of surveys. They can be kind of like a national one point of contact for you. So you could reach out to somebody like them. I know I've used those guys in the past. You can reach out to companies like CBRE. They've got services like that you can utilize and kind of have one point of contact, or you can just piecemeal it and reach out to different surveyors in that market where that facility is located or where you're going to be investing in, and figure out what costs are going to be on certain size facilities. Again, they're going to vary depending on this, where it's located and size of the facility, all these different elements. But you could potentially get a range and say, like, on average, what do these things cost, right, for these sizes of facilities that I'm looking at? And again, it's going to help you out in your underwriting, right? So you're going to want to order those surveys, and you're going to want to make sure that you have the funds ready to go for those surveys. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get on site. You're going to want to get on site, and you're going to want to take photos, again, of doors, of hallways, of interior spaces, of units, of any HVAC units. Make sure that you've got a map of the facility, and you're marking where these different elements are at the facility. If you're identifying any issues, make sure you're looking at drainage. Make sure you're looking at roofs. Document damage. Document how people are using the facility. Like, does the gate work when like a tenant pulls up to access it? How are they accessing it? Is there somebody that's like frequently coming in as you're like walking through the facility and taking pictures and talking to the owner or whatever? If so, who are they? Are they a contractor, and how are they using that unit? It can be a great opportunity to even talk to a tenant and be like, hey, I'm thinking about maybe even getting a unit here. I'm just here like doing some survey stuff. I'm thinking about getting a unit here. Like, why do you rent here? You can get some really, really great insight there. It can also be a great opportunity to meet contractors on site. This is another thing where we try to put the cart before the horse and estimate what all these different costs of things are going to be. Like, let's say signage for one, or if we want to pave something, we've got this facility that has some gravel, and we're like, oh, if we pave it, it'll be so much better. Use those as opportunities to meet that site visit that you're doing. Use that as an opportunity to meet those contractors on site and physically look at what they're looking at and have them explain and walk through with you those different things that they're looking at. And it can really, really be beneficial to help you decide which asphalt company you're going to use or which roofing company you're going to use, and really truly understanding the dynamics of what's going on. Because it can sometimes, there's a lot of things that can be lost in translation when it comes from like a contractor out on a facility sending something to you and saying, hey, here are the problems and here are the potential solutions. And then you've got another contractor with another set of problems and a totally different set of solutions with a different set of costs and everything else. It can just help add a lot of clarity meeting those people on site. The other thing, I want to make sure that I don't forget to mention this. When you're talking with your lender and you're setting up your financing, make sure you make all your potential opportunities that you're investing in, make sure that your PSA outlines that this deal is contingent on the financing happening. So if financing doesn't happening, you can exit the deal, get your earnest money back, all the things. Because if financing falls through for whatever reason, then you're protected. So caveat one. Two, when you're talking to lenders, make sure that you're not only getting your, acquisition, your loan to acquire the property and the facility and the working capital, whatever it's going to take in those CapEx improvements. Also work with the bank or the lender to get a line of credit or a cap line at the same time that you're getting the loan set up, to where you not only have like your loan and working capital, you have a line of credit to pull on at any point in time. I strongly encourage you guys to do that. I personally would do everything in my power to make sure I get that if I was going to acquire anything. That way you've just got more capital immediately accessible for you, whether it's in the form of the working capital through the loan or it's through that just revolving line of credit you have with the bank. So pro tips there. But with the CapEx pieces, call those contractors, get real numbers for real things. Don't guess, don't estimate yourself. Get the real stuff from those experts. On the survey side, make sure you have not only when you order that property condition report and they send a qualified expert out to look at all of the elements of the facility, don't just rely on what they said the roof was going to look like or what the roof looks like. Get a roofing company out there specifically to inspect the roof as well. Don't just rely on one person, rely on several pieces of data to give you an idea of what things actually look like. And we found an immense amount of value in having subject matter experts when it comes to roofing, HVAC, like drainage or concrete or asphalt, like those big ticket item things. Have subject matter experts come out on top of your property condition report and these other surveys you're getting to look at those different elements and provide you like real insight from them as well. Because we've just seen so many times a property condition report will come back and it'll be like, hey, things are fine. And then suddenly things aren't fine. Like the roof is fine in the property condition report and should last, the usable expected life is, 5 to 7 years, but, it's literally got all of these different like leaking areas or penetrations here or there that are like need to be addressed now. Like it's not going to last. So some pro tips there. Really wanted to be able to set you guys up for success. This is such an amazing time for acquisition. So I was really thinking, all right, how do we really prepare folks to go out there and find the opportunities to go out there and to execute on them and to really take advantage of this amazing time frame in this cycle of the market that we're in? And this was the thing that came to mind. So with that said, guys, get out there and execute on these things today. Again, don't forget that buy box challenge that I just proposed to you guys. Get out there, get that done, put the buy box together. Send that to those brokers and get those deals coming in and start analyzing those markets, man. Start doing your underwriting. Start looking at those different opportunities and diving into those. If they check the boxes, submit your LOIs. Don't rely on how you feel emotionally about any of it. If you start looking at a facility and you're like, like this facility, like with the debt service, it works. With this, that, it works. Like it cash flows, it hits the marks that we need. Like, let's go. Let's rock and roll. It doesn't matter like, oh, well, I'm kind of nervous. Like, I know the SBA wants us to personally guarantee this. I don't know if I want to do that because it's like, if the asset works and you're confident in that market, I strongly encourage you guys, submit your LOIs, move forward with it, and base your decisions off of logic and data versus your emotions as you're going through it, because it can be scary. It can be big. So with that, get out there, crush it. If you guys enjoyed this episode, please leave your comments, leave your reviews, give us likes, all the things. It helps us out a ton. And couldn't thank you guys enough for being a part of Self-Storage Income, listening to the podcast, watching it on YouTube, whatever it is, being a part of our Self-Storage Income community if you are. Appreciate the heck out of you guys, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Take care, everybody.